dear Creating Legacy of subscribers. It's San Diego Trust and Estate Attorney Christina Hess. Happy fall. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to some colder, hopefully rainy weather. We've had so much sunshine and warm weather that it's time for some fall here in San Diego. I know it's a hard problem to have. Today I want to talk to you about generosity. Hopefully you all know that we moved into our new office. We hope that you come see us in our office suite on Lusk in Sorrento Valley. Clients, if it's time for your 3-year review, be sure to call the office or reply to this email and we'll get you in the calendar before the end of the year. All right, so when we moved into the new office, I put together a new mission and vision statement for Hess Law. And here's a screenshot of it. Hopefully you can see this canvas that Lee of Luminary Graphics made for us. And the canvas and the mission and vision of Hess Law is to inspire generosity, empower the generations, and create legacies that last. So generosity, what is generosity? Generosity can be a verb in the sense that when you're generous, you're engaged in the act of giving. But generosity is an adjective, and it describes a person who gives freely without holding back. So one who gives freely. And it's more than that. Generosity is a mindset. Ultimately, it's a character trait, and generosity is a matter of the heart. Generosity comes from a place of love and internal abundance, because generosity does not flow out of a scarcity or poverty mindset. Generosity flows from love and abundance. And generosity is not just about money. Generosity is giving of your time, of your talent, and perhaps your treasure. And I recently was listening to a video by a gentleman named Bo Eason, and he was talking about being generous with yourself. So generosity, as he described it, was being generous with yourself in the sense that when you're engaged in an activity, whether it be your work or your play, that you're all in. You're giving all of yourself all the time. You're generous with yourself when you do this, and you're generous with others. So when you're with your children or your grandchildren, you're giving all of yourself to them in that moment, or in those moments or those hours that you're with them. When you're at work and you're engaged in building your business or your career, you're giving all of yourself to that endeavor. So you are generous with yourself and generous with others when you give all of yourself all the time. So why would you want to be generous? There's a proverb that says, "The generous soul shall prosper." The generous soul shall prosper. So generosity of soul, of mind, of heart will prosper you. And generosity will keep the darkness away. A conscious choice to be generous will drive away greed. Just as faith and fear cannot coexist in your heart at the same time, generosity cannot coexist with greed at the same time. I was recently reading an article about the 2008 global financial crisis that was sparked by a crisis in the mortgage industry in this country. And if you look at the players, whether it be the banks or the people involved, or even people borrowing, some, not all, but some of these individuals were motivated by greed. They decided not to follow certain rules so that they could gain more. And so when we make an intentional choice to be generous, that's when you keep greed away. And when you give to others, it will be given back to you. This is a spiritual law. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are about spirituality. Spiritual laws exist whether you believe them or not. And so you give or you are generous, and you will receive in return. But more than that, you can be someone who you want to be, who isn't motivated by greed, but rather is motivated by generosity. So today, I encourage you to be generous with yourself. Give to yourself. Be all in your work, in your play, in your relationships, with your significant other, with your children, with your grandchildren. Give all of yourself. Be one who is generous, and it shall be given to you. The generous soul shall prosper. And I hope more than anything else that you will prosper in your body, your mind, and your spirit. This has been San Diego Trust and Estate Attorney Christina Hess, hopefully inspiring your generosity.